like to introduce some friends of mine, Bud and Linda Blanford, that I've known for over 40 years. My husband and I had met them when they befriended and mentored us after we had become Christians. Understand, this was a long time ago, back in the late 60s. Years before that, Bud and Linda had struggled in their marriage. Their marriage barely survived this train wreck kind of catastrophe that many newlywed couples face. Let's listen and hear how they wanted a better marriage than their parents had, yet their good intentions were not enough to give them the basic skills that they needed. Hang on and listen to these next 3 short videos and hear how they survived their marriage crisis and remained married, amazingly, for 58 years.
You guys have been married for 58 years. What do you think you saw in your parents' marriage and in your family, and how did that get brought into your marriage?
What I saw was just they had balanced meals. My dad worked 9 to 5. My mom had friends. My dad had friends. We had family vacations. Family dog. It looked pretty normal from the outside. Except I used to wonder why they didn't do a lot together. They did a lot with friends, they did a lot with us, but not a lot together. I didn't see like a real friendship. They had friendships, but they weren't really together.
Okay.
That's what I saw.
Okay. And Buddy, what did you see?
One of the reasons that I wanted to be married was because I wanted a life very different from the one that I'd seen with my parents. I wanted someone that I didn't want Linda to work. I did want her at home. I did, though, however, acquire a dominant view of my role running things. That didn't work so well.
Well, that didn't work. That kind of approach just never works. This next video is going to talk about how Bud's love for his wife helped motivate him to want to change the way he related to her. So let's take a look and see how his new approach softened her attitude toward him.
Okay, Buddy said that his dominant position didn't work so well, so now we're wondering about money problems and how you got through that.
Oh, there was never enough money, ever. In fact, money was the thing that drove us to fighting the most of anything there was, until we got to the teenage years, and then we had some problems there. There just never was enough money, and it seemed to be the priority to all of our fights. And who got what? Who has the power over the money is really the one that's in power. And because I wasn't working, because I didn't have a job, because I couldn't get a job, I wasn't educated enough, I didn't have opportunities, and he didn't want me to work, it made it even more of an issue because I was so dependent and he didn't have enough. But in my family, when you wanted something, you needed it, you got it. We charged it. But in his family, you didn't buy until you had money.
Okay. Buddy, do you want to add anything to that? And how you got through those differences?
The money in the bills is simple math. It either works or it doesn't. Her way was to go out and charge and not tell me. And when we'd get the bills, I'd get a migraine headache and we would fight. And I remember one day as I drove away angry that I thought, I turned around and I went back and I said, you know what? I love you more than I love, even if we go broke. At least we'll go broke together, and I let her take over. And I think that was a turning point for her, and it was for me.
Yeah, it seemed like with our marriage, a lot of the crisis that we had, it was when he would like surrender his will of having to do it his way by him doing that, then I don't know, I'd soften, and then I'd submit to him. Nobody told us that's the way to do it. It's just what worked for us. The harder he got, the more stubborn he was, the more I wanted what I wanted, because I felt like he was keeping it from me.
I didn't know that the Bible says a husband should lay down his life for his wife, like Christ laid down his life for the church. But I loved her like that, and so I did it, and it did wonders to her.
Of course, not all Christian marriages are good, and not all non-Christian marriages are bad. But let's discover the key to Bud and Linda and how they grew even deeper in love because of their new faith in Jesus Christ.
Here we are.
God has played an important role in your 58 years of marriage. When did it start? And kind of tell us about that.
Well, I was raised in a church, but I can't say God was any part of my life much. There was a time, though, that my sister was home writing letters to her husband in the service, and I was there too, gazing at, there was a Bible on the corner of my mom's table, and I just kept looking at it. And I was having a hard time with marriage. It wasn't easy. It was so much work. It wasn't fun. We weren't friends. And I just thought, oh, I'll just read that Bible over. Just flipping through it, I read about divorce and how to get divorced, you really need a reason, like somebody needs to have committed adultery, or there has to be some valid reasons for it. And I thought, Bud just doesn't have enough money. Mm-hmm. We just are broke all the time. So I knew that I was at a crossroads where I had to make a decision about marriage. And God was a huge factor in that. He had set the rules down. This is what you do to have a marriage. This is what you don't do. You don't get divorced. You're married now. And so when I read that, I thought, I am completely going to give all I've got to my marriage, whatever that is. And that day, I went back home to my home that Bud had bought for us, and I was totally in. I burned the bridges behind me. I was going to do anything that it took to make it work. So he was a big part of my decision to commit myself to marriage, even at 17 years old. And then I got to know who he was later.
When Linda came back to me, I was so thankful. It changed my life. And later, Linda went, her dad had died, and she went to a Bible study. And I thought from what she was saying, I've got to figure out if this thing is real or if it's not. And so I found it. Jesus said, if you seek me, you'll find me. Well, I did seek him, and I did find him. And both of us did. And that changed so much in our lives and gave us principles, gave us truth. And we already had love. And it just helped it blossom.
Yeah.